Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Before we talk about that dreadful loss, we are running a giveaway on my Twitter at Brodes Media where you have a chance to win a Bryce Harper jersey. It's so simple. At the top of the profile, there is a pinned tweet. You have to retweet that, hit that follow button. Also, we are on the road to 20,000 subscribers, so make sure if you are new to the channel, smash that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. I greatly appreciate it. With that all being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Devastating loss, it really is. To start off this road trip with the fat L and the offense looking so flat, it's unacceptable. You're going up against the team at the time before the game started that had 38 wins, and I understand that they're coming off of a series win against the San Diego Padres, but I'm sorry. You have to play a better brand of baseball and act as if there's something to fight for. It looked as if they were the 38-win team. In what universe are you fighting for a division going up against a squad that you should annihilate and you lose 3-1 in such an embarrassing fashion? I mean, you really analyzed their offense. It was a Bryce Harper bomb that should have never even happened. I have no idea how he caught up to that pitch to drive it over the wall the way that he did, and a Brad Miller double off the wall in the ninth inning. Other than that, there was no real true offense other than a spot when Gene Segura had an opportunity to knock in some runs, and he basically popped it up to shortstop, left a lot of meat on the bones. There's no denying that. Throughout the entire lineup, there were very hittable pitches. Let's not act as if there were not pitches to drive that were left right over the middle of the plate and easy access for great contact through the zone, but instead, fly out, pop out. I don't know what was going on. I did not love the approach at the plate. It seemed everyone was going up there selfishly, just swinging and hoping and praying that they hit the long ball instead of thinking about a team successful offense that they've been producing with before this ugly stretch that's occurring right now. They would get on base. They would work a walk. They would steal bases. They would do a little contact here to move somebody over. I mean, they would get surgical, if you will, with producing, and you have to do that even more when you don't have a Rhys Hoskins in the lineup, but instead just up there hacking and hoping that maybe they hit that deep bomb, and I just did not love that, and that needs to change. I would say, well, look, you have Ranger Suarez, and look, you have Zach Wheeler lined up for the next two starts, so it's not the end of the world. You have an opportunity here to still win 2 of 3 games, which would be successful in this series still, in my opinion. But it's not really about the pitching, because if you look at Kyle Gibson, who goes 6 innings and allows 3 earned runs, that's basically a Kyle Gibson type of nod in reality. And I know this year he's been sensational compared to years in the past, but ultimately 6 innings, 3 earned runs, that's what you're going to get out of the journeyman who is here now after the trade deadline. The movement on his pitches were, whoa. You're telling me that they catch the inside part of the plate on lefties when it moves right back in out of nowhere? Some of these actually blew my mind. I'm not going to lie. I threw a couple of the clips up on at Brodes Media on Twitter as we take some of the highlights that happened throughout the game and tweet them there. If you do not already follow that Twitter account, you should absolutely hop on over there and hit that follow button. You see the pitch come. It looks like it's 5 feet in the zone, and before you know it, you're locked up, and it's, what? How in the world did that catch any part of the plate? But it absolutely did. And then you go to the bullpen and bring in JD Hammer. He had 4 strikeouts in 2 innings. That was absurd. The curveball, what? Utilizing the fastball well, what? JD Hammer looked dominant in his 2 innings of work. That was probably the best JD Hammer we have ever seen. Other than one pitch, the Van Meter, the mistake that happened for a 2-run home run, Kyle Gibson was pretty strong. He had some good defense behind him, which is always what you need. Brad Miller at first base making a stellar play. There was one where Torreyes is running out of foul territory. It was a fair ball, but his body was taking him to foul territory as he angled the ball. Tried to throw it over to Brad Miller, who tried to scoop it, wasn't able to. That was the only defensive play of the game where it was a bit questionable. Could a Brad Miller make a better chance at it and give himself a better chance to make that scooping play? It was tough all around. I'm not really knocking anyone, to be completely honest with you. But, yeah, I mean, Gibson did work out of a bit of traffic once in a blue moon throughout there. But still, yeah, it comes down to that hitting and how disgusting the effort really is. Something needs to change. Somebody needs to spark this team. And I know the broadcast alluded to it where when you went to Pittsburgh, you lost. And you lost to a team that you should win and you should beat. And you rattle off win after win after win after win after win after win after that. So is there an element to that? And maybe it occurring now. But that shouldn't be the case, right? I said I saw something in this team in those 8 games that I did not know was in there. So ultimately, I had to see if it was there. Well, that 8-game winning streak team would have put the Arizona Diamondbacks away in game 1. So maybe it was fool's gold. Maybe it was the Kyle Schwarber Nationals run where he got hot. I believe that was June. That wasn't July, was it? I believe it was June. Regardless of what month it was either June or July, where he went on that tear and he was hitting home runs all night long, nonstop. Well, Bryce Harper was help carrying that offense for a good sample size there. Are we going to now get back to the reality side of things? Time will tell. But that 8-game win streak, Phillies would have won 3 in a row and beat the team that they should have. I don't get upset when you lose to the Dodgers or you lose to the Cincinnati Reds because that makes sense to me. There's a reason why the Dodgers are where they are in the National League West. There's a reason why the Cincinnati Reds have more wins than the Phillies. They are a good team hanging on in that NL Central, battling as long as they possibly can to sneak into a nice solid playoff opportunity for them, hopefully. When you lose to the Diamondbacks, though, that's where it gets unacceptable. That's where it gets to a new level of, fellas, come on now. You can beat the teams in front of you. And Joe even got testy. After the game, he was asked by the media about the schedule and how much easier it gets. He goes, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about the schedule anymore. Okay, Joe. I got you. I understand. Trust me. Earlier on this season, I would say it all the time when people discuss the back half of the schedule and the teams left. I'd say, who cares? They lose to these teams all the time. But once again, that 8-game win streak showed me something with this baseball team that I never, ever, 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 ever thought was in there. So it made me think, hold on a second. Let's put the brakes on. Maybe there's something to those 8 wins. Well, I don't know anymore. And it isn't as simple as Rhys Hoskins is not there. I know how valuable he is to the lineup. I gotcha. At the same time, you go from 2 hits, 2 good, solid hits in this game. I know they finished with 3, but the one was a Didi Gregorius bloop. I'm talking about good, solid, structured hits. There were 2. You're telling me Rhys Hoskins is the difference in Gene Segura and JT Realmuto going 0 for 8 combined or not? Because the answer is no. So there's legitimacy to what he does bring to the table and how he does help Bryce Harper and how you have to pitch to Bryce Harper differently because you're afraid of a monster that can crush your pitch. You're afraid of a home run hitter on the right side of the plate named Rhys Hoskins who can drive the baseball. That's all true. How does that stop Gene Segura, though? Gene Segura goes 0 for 4. JT goes 0 for 4 at the top of your lineup. These are your producers. These are your that's your 300 hitter in Gene, who's going through a bit of a funk. Let's go. Let's go. These are against pitches that should be able to get hit well. Through the zone. Through the zone. Get that bat speed where it needs to be. Disappointing. No doubt about it. What else happened in this game? I'm just thinking of Rojas had 3 hits on Gibson there. He was just murdering. That play out in left field where Andrew McCutchen gets interfered with that fan, and the fan ends up getting kicked out, but then there was no actual call for fan interference, so he comes back in late in the game, and his entire crew that he was with, or the people sitting by his section, not that there was many, because that arena or that stadium had, 7,000 fans in it total? But he was able to come back. How was that not interference? You can look at the replay and clearly see the fan reached over to make the catch, and it would have went into Andrew McCutchen's glove if he did not reach over into the field. His glove and his hand and his entire forearm was clearly a good 10 feet over the damn wall. I have no idea how they came up with that assessment. Horrendous. Although we can all agree that, speaking of horrendous, the blue behind the dish was nowhere close to as bad as what we've seen over the last handful of action, it seems at least. Whether it was the Ian Kennedy debacle in the 9th inning, whether it was the Connor Brogdon situation that occurred against the Cincinnati Reds that led to a loss. Not saying that was the only reason why they lost, but it definitely hurts. There was definitely a lot of damage done after that missed call. All right, a little better. Maybe we're getting on to something here. Maybe there'll be a trend of some legit umpiring and good calls behind the plate. The Phils need every advantage they can possibly get right now, all the help they could possibly get. And I don't know how much more help you can have than what was thrown to them yesterday. Basically, batting practice. It was that bad. It's crazy to think about what actually occurred last night. I'm all for 10 o'clock baseball. I'm all for 9:40 baseball. I love when the Phillies play on the West Coast. It sucks in terms of recording because sometimes I basically do it the next morning instead of the night of, but that's not really going to affect my mood for watching the games at night. It's 10. Well, it's really 9:40, but you get my point. It's 9:40. It's 10. It's West Coast. You're kicking back in the basement. You're staying up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just watching the 9th inning finish out. It's all fun. When your team's playing well, though, when there's actual excitement, where there's explosiveness on the base paths. Kutch had a double at one point. I'm like, okay, here we go. Or no, it wasn't a double. He got to second base. He ended up getting on first. He gets on second base with a good tag up early in the game. All right, let's go. Let's take advantage. Well, some strategy gets involved where Kyle Gibson's up to the plate, and, well, you can't cash in with McCutchen on second. But he got there with one out. So let's go. Let's get the lead early. Nope. They did have the lead, though, when Bryce turned on one. That ball just missed the pool. Wow. The power's back. That's for sure. We were talking about a 300 batting average for a while this season without much power, without many home runs, I should say. Things have turned around quickly for Bryce Harper. The way he got on top of that ball, I couldn't believe it. There were a lot of fly balls, though, that didn't carry as much as I thought. Didi Gregorius went to the wall. You maybe thought that was going to have a chance to go over. Even earlier in the game, there was another scenario for that died on the warning track. But it's crazy to think about where Brad Miller was scoring on a wild pitch where nobody covered home plate, and what could have been if Didi Gregorius did getting that ball to inch just out. It was hit well, and I thought it would carry. That one died in the 8th inning. There were some that were close and possibly out elsewhere. The problem is it doesn't matter if it's possibly out elsewhere. All that matters is it wasn't out in Arizona last night. We're going to get to the Anytime Hotline calls here, but first, let me tell you about my friends at DraftKings. Everyone's favorite time of the year is right around the corner, the college football season. To celebrate, DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new players in the center of the action with $200 in free bets instantly. If you bet $1 or more on any college football game, take advantage of this limited time offer right now. You heard right. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any college football game, no matter what. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any college football game. That's promo code Brodes to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, let's hop right on over to hear from the people after the game. Late night calls. Gotta love it. Gotta love the late night calls. Here we go.
Hit the ball! Hit the fucking ball! I understand how Reese Hoskins being out of his lineup can turn everyone's bats into sawdust, but everyone needs to wake the fuck up. JT Realmuto, Gene Segura, Andrew McCutchen, everyone on this team needs to start hitting the fucking ball. It seems like Bryce Harper's the only one out there who gives a shit right now. You are facing one of the worst teams in baseball, the worst team in baseball, awful pitching staff, and you can only get 3 hits. Fucking pathetic. Win the next 3 games or I'm fucking done.
Wow, all right. You see the intensity there. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I feel that passion as well, and I'm eating up inside. I guess I just knew and I understood that there was going to be more to this up and down roller coaster of Phillies baseball. So I somewhat expected this. At the same time, I didn't expect it to. I know that sounds hypocritical, and I'm kind of countering myself there. But no, that is legit. It's. I've convinced myself, and it's not even like I need convincing. The track record clearly will show you, and it indicates where the Phillies organization is. There's going to be upsetting losses. There's going to be bad games. There's going to be games you should win that you lose. There's probably going to be games that you should lose that you're going to end up winning still in this backstretch, just like you saw when the Nationals were losing games in the 9th inning and you had Finnegan throwing pitches right over the part of the plate for Reese Hoskins to drive. I mean, there's been a lot of those situations too. So you knew that there would be losses like this, and this is falling right into that category. So I feel that frustration. At the same time, I've been prepared for it to happen. I wanted to see how the fans would react. I wanted to see what the pulse would be on this team where there would be adversity hit after the excitement. Well, I guess it's going how I expected. More jumping off the bandwagon. Not saying you specifically, talking from a more broader sense of where the fans are. Not as much buzz, right back to not as conversational. It was all nonstop October Red Phillies discussion that weekend against the Mets. After the Dodgers, it didn't have that pop against the Reds. It's definitely not going to have that pop in a dead Arizona building. It's tough to get into it even at home watching the game. I remember a few years back, I was at one of my buddies' places, right? And he's not big into baseball, but we were hanging out. It was a good little hangout with a few different couples or whatever, and I wanted to put the game on because I wanted to at least keep my eye on it. So I throw it on, and it was against Miami, and it was Vince Velasquez on the mound. And he goes, dude, you watch every game like this? Yes, I do. He goes, it's dead as hell in that stadium. Yeah, this is probably the worst case scenario for me to show you if I was trying to get you into baseball, because there's no life, and it's so quiet, and you can hear pretty much the players speaking inside the dugout, inside the clubhouse when you're watching the pitch being thrown. That's how dead it is, and it somewhat felt the same exact way last night. From a player's perspective, though, when that happens, who's going to step up? Who's going to create that buzz? You have to do it yourself. It's not going to be there. You have to find it. You have to make it. Whether it's a walk, and it's a pump up, and it's a smacking of the hands, it's a clap, it's a fist pump, it's a look at the clubhouse and say, let's go, fellas. After an amazing at-bat, and you earn yourself a walk, and you get on with one out, and here we go. Let's start the rally. Let's go. Let's go. Someone's got to do it, because it's not going to be any fans in Arizona. It's hard, though, watching from home with that. If you're going to Dodger Stadium watching on the West Coast, if you're going to a packed San Diego Padres building with Fernando Tatis Jr. in the mix, it's exciting. I only need 2 cups of coffee. Instead, I'm drinking 7 last night. Here's another call.
Hey, Rhodes. So it's 12:30 and the Phils just lost 3-2 to Diamondbacks. Okay, so this is I know it's only one game, but this is the reason why I wasn't very high on the whole strength of schedule train. You still have to go out and play. If you don't come out to play, what good does the strength of the schedule matter? A little league team could beat you if you don't come out and play. I mean, it's only the first game, but this isn't a good start. And they better wake up tomorrow or else, hey, they might not wake up at all.
Yeah, that would be devastating to drop this series, and it would be a big pop into the balloon for sure if you lose 2 or 3 to this team as the Braves just win and win and win and find their groove, as right now the Phils are 2.5 games back, so they have to stop the bleeding without a doubt. You can only control what you can control, and I know you have to keep an eye on what's happening with Atlanta and what's happening with the Mets, even though we somewhat write them out already. I know it's time, and it's that territory as we're creeping in to the half of August here, the second half of August, as it's August 18th already. I'm somewhat amazed when I look down at my calendar on my desktop and see that that's truly the date. It's time to look around to see what each team is doing every night, but you still have to take control of what you can. And that's the Arizona Diamondbacks, one game at a time. A series win is all I ask for. It just hurts knowing that the difference in actually getting that push or not is taking 3. That's what you need to do if you want to win and want to be in the first place in the National League East to see some playoff action. That's what you need to do. It's not the end of the world winning 2 of 3, though, and I can't demand a team that I know has so many flaws to win every single game. So the floor for me was win 2 of 3. And what would separate yourself from what we thought you once were and that 8-game win streak and, being more of that 8-game win streak team instead of the team that is just hanging around is taking 3 of 3. We know that's not the case, but now there should be a lot more pressure on. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Some teams play well with pressure. Some teams need that pressure to push them. That's that extra jolt that they find because they know their backs are against the wall. Other teams, well, they crumble, like the New York Mets. Well, I hate to say this because this would mean they trend more towards the Mets, although it's not shocking to hear. We talk about the Mets, pulling the Mets all the time. Well, the Philly, all the time. So, unfortunately, it feels like it's more in that direction than the other.
Well, bros, this is going to set up the same exact way the Pittsburgh Pirates series set up, where the Phillies lose the first 2 games and then win the next 8. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it might. But the Phillies offense was just pure abysmal tonight. Their pitcher, his ERA is absolutely abysmal too, but he was getting fastballs right down the chute, and the Phillies were pretty much like the Mets tonight. They were not hitting fastballs at like 90 miles an hour right down the chute. I mean, you just can't win baseball games if we're not hitting fastballs right down the middle.
And that was the most disappointing thing for me. It was just the pitches that were so hittable. I hated the approach, right? Didn't it feel they were playing a selfish brand of baseball when they were in the batter's box? It was all about themselves instead of the team. I want to see what I could do here. And then they overemphasized on certain things, which would end up popping up, and there'd be a fly ball instead of, let me just hit the baseball. Let me just square up the baseball. Let's get on base. Let's play the way that we've been playing when we have been scoring well. Instead, it's let me close my eyes and see if I can pull a Joey Gallo. Let me close my eyes and see if I can just murder this pitch. Well, no. Let's think about the team. Let's think about getting on base. Let's think about doing the little things. Let's think about playing team baseball, not selfish baseball. And they're not a selfish team. It felt out of character what they were doing at the plate. I'm not talking about the total amount of hits because, yes, they've been quiet. I'm talking about how they looked at the plate. That was weird. That was very odd. That was very strange. That was not what we have seen. It's kind of throwing me off a bit last night. Fellas, let's go. Let's go. Come on now. Come on now. Let's clean it up. All right, let's take one more call.
Well, that was a pretty disappointing game as far as this is from the Phils. Honestly, I thought Gibby pitched pretty well. I was pretty happy with him. I was super happy with JD Hammer. So, I mean, honestly, the defense played well. The pitching was good, but the fucking hitting was awful.
That's basically what it came down to. Couldn't get your hits, couldn't score your runs. You had 3 hits all day, and 2 of those happened in the same exact inning. One was a home run, and you didn't have any sort of splash until that 9th. And when I say splash, I'm referencing actually a good hit and a smooth swing by Brad Miller. So other than that, it was a very quiet day, and that needs to change here for Game 2. With that all being said, I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes, and I will see you next time.